Well, hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me in my shop here for the start on this fantastic classic radio here, which I have been scared to bring into my shop. So if this is the first time you've watched any of my videos, because this is a video number one, I usually do a series of videos as I work away on a radio, trying to bring it back to life. Sometimes the series is 5 videos, sometimes it's 15. I have no idea what lies ahead. This is a very, very old radio I have in front of me here, and my familiarity with it is basically zero. So I've heard about this radio, I've seen pictures of it, I've seen pictures and stuff about these coil sets here, but otherwise I don't really know anything about this radio. Except I know this. I have 2 of them. There's another one down there on the floor. Now the one on the floor, one of the first things I wanted to do was decide which one of these 2 I want to invest my time in. The one on the floor, I have discovered that the capacitor, the tuning capacitor, is frozen solid inside it. Now that might be an easy thing to get going again, I don't know. But that's the situation with that one. It may have a very, very serious problem to it. You can still turn the front dial on it, but the capacitor doesn't move. So that's a really bad sign, I think. So I'm starting with this guy. The other difference between the 2 of them too is that this one has this nice plug on it. The other one just has the cord frayed at the end with a bundle of wires exposed. So I'm pretty sure this is the guy to work on. These radios, I believe they're from the late 1920s, maybe 1929 in fact, in particular. They were built for ham radio operators, so you can see by 1929 the equipment was already coming with a very advanced look to it. Yeah, it may look old to us now, but in fact, just a second, move this other one out of the way here for me. I think probably these might have been, at the top of the heap of equipment that a ham radio operator could have. This is just a receiver. There's no transmitter with it. And if you haven't seen one of these before, you're probably staring at this big dial and wondering what the heck's going on with it. If you look, you can see a number in here. Number 40, 30, 20, and if we count, there's 10 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can turn this dial and figure out you're at number 45. You can then look down at this chart and pick off 45. It's probably supposed to be 450 is probably what this really is. Look across the bottom where it says dial to 450. Then you would come up to the line, then you read across. That's the frequency you're tuned to. The frequency range here is 6, 7, 8, all the way up to 15. So all the way from 6 up to 15. That's the kind of the core of the short wave band. That's quite a range, in fact. Station dial, station dial. So here you're writing in the station you picked up and what the dial number was, so you can tune back in later. You write it on here, not on a piece of paper. There's a number down here, 0494. Perhaps that's the serial number. It looks a little different than all the rest of the lettering. It could be a number somebody afterwards put on this. I don't know. If it's the serial number, this is just short of number 500. So it has, obviously, this control has been corroded very badly. At least the plate out here at the front. There's the on-off switch. Doesn't sound good. Some more controls here. This one says phasing on it. And it usually suggests some kind of crystal filter or something like that in a radio like this. We have a control called selectivity. Over on this side, got the panel meter. A little more light here. Well, pointer sitting where it should be. We have an unlabeled switch here. Another switch down here says on off. Oh, AVC on off. Could be. This is audio gain. It says it right on the knob. Audio gain. And this one is it says oscillator. There's a switch. CW oscillator. So this is the BFO. Maybe this turns the AVC on and off. And then we have 3 outputs here. Headphones and a line output. A 2000 ohm headphone, 500 ohm monitor. It's a monitor. And line output 500. Well, I'm sure that's supposed to be ohms. These two are the same. Why would they have 2? Okay. They must have put these little handles in because they knew you were going to be heaving on these. I'm not going to pull this out. So on the side of the radio we have this plate. Now, this just doesn't quite look original. The other radio, on its side, there's a hole. There's a hole where the plate is on this one. So that does look like that's probably the output where you hook up the antenna. Kind of odd how it's done. What's around the back here? So I think we have the cord here, which is probably getting beat up badly. There's some kind of output here. Probably a speaker output, but I'm not sure of that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's this? Oh no. This looks like a multi-conductor piece of wire. It's like a Bell telephone wire. Huh. What? That's a bad sign. What's that there? Excuse me, what's that there for? Then we have this. Is there anything written on there? Let me grab my other camera. Where is the other camera? Here it is. Let's see what we can see with this one. Oops. Here we go. Well, does that say SW? Short is in short wave. I mean, if that's an antenna connection with the shorting bar in it, that's a little odd. Nothing else written around it. SW. It's all short wave, so I don't know what that would be. Yeah, and then well, why would there be an antenna connection here? Well, there's that thing on the side. Then we have this wire here. Okay, it's only a 2 conductor. I feel better. From my fuzzy eye sight, it looked like 4 wires in there. Nothing else written back here. Not a lot of writing on this radio. Let's take a look. Let's take it since I untangled my cord here. Royal Canadian Corps of Signals. Canadian Signals Experimental Establishment. Manufactured by the Royal Canadian Corps of Signals. Well, maybe I'm totally wrong. No serial number. I don't understand that. Royal Canadian Corps of Signals. Canadian Signals Experimental Establishment. Okay, that's just totally doesn't fit into the kind of story I have in my head about this radio, but let's take a look. Because if it's a ham radio, and it's surprising to me too that this would be affordable. Okay. National receiver. Now this is who I think actually made this. The National company. Made in the States. But the other, it says manufactured by. Well, I don't think there's much else to see here in terms of hints on its B+ on off. Yeah, one thing about these radios is they have no power supply in them. I understand, from my understanding, they have no power supply. The upper part of the print has just gone white in there. This is the mystery switch. It's not located, well, I guess it is located maybe opposite that. Doesn't look right to me. Looks like something I would do. Looks like somebody else put that switch in there. Audio gain, AVC, all the same stuff here. CW oscillator. And looking at this. Coil set type JB. JB, the National company. There's a number down there. Is that? Oh. Look at those numbers match. The upper number, the paint or the label here appears to have gone over top of the company's ink. The ink stains. This was put on afterwards, and this was put on afterwards. And it's to make sure that this particular filter gets back into this particular radio. And why do you have to do that? Because you've got a dozen of these. Because you're the Army. And then you go ahead and put this label on the top and claim you manufactured it. So is it the box? What was manufactured? Type number, Canadian SEE, Canadian Signals Experimental Establishment. Mod. A modified cabinet. I don't know. I don't know, there's some magic inside here. Hey, let's look inside. I haven't even looked inside yet. Yeah, let's take a look inside this. Well, I have taken a look inside, which is why I wasn't terribly curious, but I'm sure you are. Let's see what we can see in here. Well, first it's got this big cover plate. Underneath here are the tuning capacitors, and I know that from the other radio because this plate is missing. There's a number again. 0494. I wonder if that isn't the manufacturing serial number for the radio. Maybe I saw it and missed it somewhere. And then they just use that number to identify various parts. You wouldn't think they put a number on this plate though, because the plate can come off and go somewhere else. That's all. What's happened here? Interesting materials of the day that they put in. This stuff is just the same way it was the day they put it in. Felt here. And clearly this is holding everything down or steadying everything up. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. All the tubes appear to be here. Looks pretty undisturbed to me. And I wonder how long these things have been sitting since somebody else is doing what I'm doing. So there's the capacitors there. There's paint here just flaking right off this. Probably a transformer of some sort. I can see the contact fingers down there. What's going on here? So this is soldered right here. And I can see the same sort of thing down here and down here. This one's missing. Oh no, there's the wire. I was going to say this one's missing its wire. I just couldn't see it. There it is. Not a lot to see here. This is kind of a curious thing. The other radio has exactly the same thing in it. Wow, this is actually interfering with the top a little bit. So is this. This funny shaped thing here. You know what this is? This is a handle that's been banged down. This was a loop, wasn't it? It's, smashed it down. What's the other one look like? The other one has nothing on it. Maybe this is the whole modification right here. The Canadian Army came along, put this on, and then put this thing on here. Of course, I don't know that. So, what do? This whole shell come off? The shell would come off and leave this front plate. Doesn't look like an easy thing. Let's flip her up here and look underneath. Oh my gosh, this thing is heavy. It just weighs a monstrous ton. Whoa. She's a little rusty under here. Wow. Really heavy. So 1 foot. No foot. No foot. No foot. Kind of looks like it's been maybe even sitting in water for a while. Screw, 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 and screw. Does that look like a bottom plate that's just going to come off? It does have the look of a plate, just looking at the way it's been made around here. So we're going to do those screws. And screw here and a screw here. I think we'll just do this one. This other screw is probably the foot screw. It's probably it. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Uh-oh. No problem with that one. It's rusted in. That one until we get this one out here. Get a nice fitting screwdriver so I can really power it up here. We'll see what happens. Holy smokes! I can sense a coffee freak coming here. Do I have any of that stuff you use to loosen up rusty stuff? Looking at all these fluids I've got, I don't think I do. I used to have some somewhere, but you know what? Almost any oil is going to do it. So I'm going to hit this with never before seen WD-40. Enough. We'll let that sit. And it's coffee break time for me. Okay, so I tried the screw. Of course, the WD-40 hasn't done anything. Just going to heat it up. Well, I'm hoping that you heat it up and it kind of fractures the... oh, I'm burning my... That's how those burn marks get there. I'm hoping it just heated up. The expansion and contraction will loosen it. I kind of doubt it. Just okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's as solid as can be. Oh my gosh. This is what's gonna end this project. I'm shaking more than I need to, by the way. I'm shaking a little bit on purpose there to kind of. So it looks like I'm pushing a little harder than I might be because of the shaking. Okay, let's try it again. This is a very painful tool here I've got. I just came right up. Let me get a different wrench. This one hurts. Rubber handles. Oh, I got it. Something went. Yeah. I thought I was going to rip the head right off the screw, which would have been okay too. All rusty through the threads and everything. It looks like the penetrating oil got part way down here. What's that? That's the paint coming off the thing here. Okay, I'm just going to clean my hand before I get this all over the place, and we'll pop the plate off. Smells a bit like a campfire in here. Oh, another screw. Okay. Let's come off. Let the truth be told. Wow. Wow, what a machine this is. It is full of what I think sometimes are called Black Beauty capacitors. They have some other nicknames. All these are all unreliable capacitors. Oh, look at them all. Might as well include this. Now there's no paper wax capacitors in here that I can see. It's got a lot of parts. I'm a little surprised at that. Look at these resistors here. Wow. Wowie wowie. So what's going through my mind is, do I dare try starting this up? Look at this. This is a piece of plastic insulated wire. This has been added in. So here's some more of it. And it's going to this rather overdone, looks like a headphone jack. I'm sure it's a headphone jack. I don't think there's any doubt of that. Here, I happen to have some headphones. Let's jack them in there and see what happens. Yeah. Original or not? I think not. I think the stuff on the front panel is the original stuff. There's 3 different outputs there. And this has probably been added in by somebody. But this is the wildest looking, complicated jack arrangement. It's got a switch built into it, I'm sure. The switch is open. When you push in the like in most of these cases, when you push something in, the switch is separated and it opens, and that, you know, cut the sound off to the speaker, leave it going to the headphones. But this one, yeah, there's another reed. Oh, there's another reed in there. You got to push this a fair distance, and then it separates the switch down in here. Somebody did that. Now what is this piece? This is probably more of the same kind of thing. Let me tip this back a bit here, if I can. Get a look up there. So this looks like it's had something done to it. This plate here. The soldering doesn't look the same as all the rest of the soldering in here. And so this wire, this one here, appears to be disappearing into this plate. I think I see the wires coming out here onto this arrangement. What could it be for? And then this looks like one wire goes down to, I don't know what to a ground terminal? No, I don't think so. I'm not sure. Going down here anyway, and the other two more wires, because there's going to be a switch involved. Going up here, there's no speaker built into these, and I suspect there isn't even really a powerful amplifier in here to drive a speaker. So it's probably, you know, put in your high impedance headphones. That's probably what this is looking for. That beautiful capacitor there. You see how the switch works in there? Not quite from where the camera is. So you can see that these kinds of things, you know, are full of solutions to simple problems that got further and further worked on as time went by and became more and more simple, I feel like. But you can see that this knob has a lever on the back here, has this little piece sticking out here, and that piece is swung down into a gripper, and this is the switch down here. Pretty complex arrangement here. This whole thing, like, this is an expensive arrangement. This is the best they could do back then. You know, every time they come up with something, and this is just the way people are, while you're doing the thing, you're thinking up even better ways of doing it. That's a great thing about people. Well, starting this guy up just as it is. Quite a challenge here for me. First of all, I have to supply it with the necessary voltages onto here. So I have to find out what they are. I gotta find out what these plugs are. There's a lot here to find out. Would starting this up, applying power be a dumb thing to do? If it's done carefully, no, not at all. If it's done carefully, you just kind of jam it in, plug it in the wall, so to speak. No, that wouldn't be the best idea. Now this is going to be powered up with power supplies, and they're adjustable power supplies, so you can slowly build the voltage up and find out, you know, if there's a short circuit inside or something like that. Why would I even want to risk starting this up? Well, just like everything, you know, everything in here. See if it works, see what I can do to make it work better. It's interesting that this particular coil has a range that goes all the way from 7 megahertz up to 15 at the top here. That's pretty useful. That makes the radio pretty useful. Let me look at the other one. Let's see what its range is. And it's too dark to see down there right now. Well, I think the best thing I can do is stop, drink some coffee, think about this a little more, and we'll see. So I just looked on Radio Museum for what information they might have about this radio, and there is a ton. Do you see up here my little, how small that is? That's because there's pages and pages and pages of information down here. I started reading through this, and then I scanned down to see how long this is. Oh my gosh, look at this. And what I read, the page or two I read at the top, indicated to me I should read the whole thing, because this has got quite a history to it. And the first thing to realize is, evolution of the radio, different models, many different models, probably all very, very similar. And these are predecessor radios that were around. If you notice, the HRO, the one on my bench, is actually from 1935. Apparently they built the very first ones in 1934. They got on the market in 1935. And the HRO actually comes from HOR. Hell of a rush was what they were calling this radio. I guess they were putting it together as quickly as they could, designing it and getting it ready for manufacture. But they decided HOR was not going to be a good phrase to have on their radio, so they just switched two letters around. Hell of a rush order, I think is what they turned it into. That's where HRO comes from. So I can't sit and read all this to you, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to go to this website, Radio Museum, if you want to read all this, and hunt down this radio, HRO, and read all this stuff if you wish to follow along to that degree. But quite clearly, I shouldn't do any more with this radio until I know more about it. This radio is a piece of history. I think there's a lot of them around, but I don't know that for sure. It's very desirable for people who are really into this particular kind of thing. I'm on the edge of this sort of stuff. I kind of like the household commercial radios that are simpler than these complex ones. So I'm going to stop for now, and I don't think I've got anything to post. There's no way I'm going to start this radio up without learning more about it. I think it would be almost irresponsible of me. Somebody else who knows a lot more, has a lot more experience with these radios, would be real happy to get this one in this condition and go to work on it. For me, gee, I don't know, it's a lot in here. And just not sure this is the kind of thing for me to work on. So anyway, I'm going to read through that stuff. I'll learn some more and make some decision, or I'll learn enough about how to power this up safely. Find out if it actually operates, which, it may.